Today I have this piece of black walnut. This comes to us from my friend Arland Sandborn. Arland brought this by a while ago along with a bunch of other pieces of wood. I checked it for dryness and it measures about 10.2%, which is pretty dry for around here, so I guess it's ready to go. The main reason I checked it is because it's heavy as heck. It's about 13 inches long, about 10.5 inches wide, and 4 inches on one end and 4.5 inches on the other end. Because it doesn't really have any bark, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it flat side up. I don't know if I'm going to make it a round bowl or an oval bowl or a square top bowl. I don't know about that part yet, so that's why I'm not going to cut the corners off. We'll just turn on it until something pops up and looks good. I think I am going to take it to the bandsaw and cut the sealer off of the ends. Sometimes that can cause a problem. You know, maybe I want to turn it, maybe I want to stop here, but I've got some sealer, so I'm not worried about that part, but this part here. So I might just cut that off first, and then I'll get it center point marked in the middle there, get it mounted up on my woodworm screw, and we'll get to turning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop. Howdy. Now this piece is not without issues. The pith is right here. You can see there's a huge separation here. I did put CA in it, but it's a pretty wide crack. There's another crack here at the pith that goes this way. You can't see that, but it's right here. I put CA in there. It's just a small crack. This one's pretty big, and it comes up here 1.5 inches. On the other end, there's this crack here, and I put CA in that down this way. So I did clean up the ends. It's now about 12.5 by 10.5 instead of 13 by 10.5. I don't know what kind of speed we can get. I'm going to bring up the tailstock for a little extra support. And I like to spin the piece up and let the live center find its own hole. Just a little something extra that I think helps. And now we'll see what kind of speed we can get. Oh, not bad. 600 RPM. 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Oh boy, that's hard wood. I'm going to take this bottom down because when I start my cut, it hits the high spot and then misses the low spot, and it's quite irritating. And I sharpened up again too. Okay, back to this corner. I'm going to have to go sharpen up again. That makes, what, 3 times? I'm always preaching about wearing a glove when you're working at this angle, and I didn't, and now I've got just the tiniest little blood spot there. Nothing too dramatic. I just don't know the shape. I think it's dull again. Okay, both ends are fully round. I'm gonna sharpen up. Well, this top is just all chewed up, so I'm gonna square it up. It's not gonna stay that way, but I'm gonna clean it up so that it's not so raggedy. And then I think I'm gonna run a carbide tool down here to flatten off the top a little more than it is. And I put a glove on because I got smart finally. Yeah, see how much thinner this is than that? Because the top's not flat. So I'm just going to use the square carbide cutter to flatten that off on the top as soon as I get closer. I'm really hoping this doesn't break loose on me. That should do it. Yep, nice and flat now. Would probably pick up the speed too. So I just have these two flat spots, and I guess I might as well get rid of them. So I'll go ahead and turn it fully round. And then we still have to come up with some kind of shape. Okay, fully round, but I don't love the shape. I'm thinking I'm going to dish it out, make it wider at the top than it is at the bottom. Looks like that crack has become a non-issue. Still have one down here, but it's not really much of an issue either. Well, let's see what we can do. I'm going to try the speed again, about 800. Yeah, that's more appealing to me. Now the top's kind of ragged again, isn't it? Okay, I'm not saying we're done, but that's pretty close. Back to the bottom. I flattened off the bottom, kinda. I haven't quite decided what I want to do over here yet. And I marked out for a tenon, and now I'm going to make the tenon. Now I'm just going to use this diamond point tool to square up the sides of the tenon. And that's good. Now I need to decide what I want to do here, and maybe the side profile is okay. I'm not sure. What I'm debating about is, do I want this wide of a base on the bottom? I could taper it down, but what's the point? We'll lose capacity inside the bowl if I do that. And I kind of like the shape that I have out here on the outside. So I guess I'm just going to make a little base for this to set on. This right now is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of tapered. It's higher here than it is here. Kind of a bevel here, I guess. I'm trying to decide if I like that. I've never done it before. I don't know that anyone would notice it but me, but anyway, I'm going to put a little base right here for this to set on. Yeah, I like it. You'll see it maybe when I hold it up for you. It's just a bevel here. Yeah, I'm going with that. We'll come back over here. I'm happy with this side profile as well, so I'm just going to use my negative rake scraper to clean it up, and then it'll be time for sanding. See that bevel? Just a little tiny bit different. That's about all we needed there. Okay, time for sanding. Well, I must say, I'm looking forward to sanding this. A lot of my regular viewers know that I spend 2, 3, 4, 5 hours sanding a piece that doesn't look like this, my more unusual pieces. This one is going to be so straightforward, so simple, it's going to be fun. I'll bet I have it done in half an hour. I'm going to start at 120 grit and work up through 400 grit. I'm going to have the lathe spinning in reverse at about 340 RPM, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. Oh yeah, no bouncing around, no messing around. I'm gonna be having a good time. I'll see you in just a bit, and we'll put some probably sanding sealer on here. See you in a bit. Nope, can't do it. I just went in the house to get a cup of coffee, and I took a look at some of my walnut pieces that I've done, and there's not that many. On each one of them, except one, I've used Howard feeding wax, and they still look incredible. If you ever have an issue, if something gets scratched or whatever, you can just sand it up a little bit and put on some more of this, and it's good as new, and it really brings out the dark colors. The one that I didn't do, which is before I had a YouTube channel, I loved it at the time. I just loved it, but now for me it's just too shiny, so I'm gonna go with Howard feeding wax. It just really brings out that dark color. Now this has a lot of heartwood in it, so right there you don't see a lot of dark color, but you will. And that shiny one that I did, a lot of people just love it, just like I did in the beginning. I've been offered many times to sell that piece, but because it took me parts of 3 weeks to get it done, it's just too, I'm just too involved in it, too invested in it to give it up. This just makes the walnut look rich to me. Now it's not going to be this shiny after I buff it. After it dries and I buff it, it will not be this shiny. And I saw some chatoyance in here, like right there. You see that? And I saw some in the dark part too, I thought, somewhere. This is a really good finish. It hardens up, it penetrates the wood really well, and then it hardens up and does a good job of protecting the wood, but it just brings out that dark wood so well. I don't see any reason not to use it. So I'm using it. So what you do with this, you just rub it in real good like I'm doing. You let it set up for 20 minutes until it dries. It becomes a dull color then. And then you buff it up with a clean, dry cloth at a high rate of speed, as high as you can get it to go. Well, about 1,000 RPM or whatever you're comfortable with. And buff it up and it puts a nice sheen on it. Definitely not glossy. And it's good stuff. And what it is, just in case you're wondering, it's beeswax and orange oil. And it's cheap. You can still buy that for about $9 a bottle. And that bottle right there that I'm working on, I've probably been using it for at least 2 years. I really think 3 years. And I use it fairly often. I use shellac mostly, I suppose. Generally what it's going to look like, but like I said, not that shiny. I'll let that set up, I'll buff it up, I'll bring you back, and we will start working on the inside. See you in a bit. I have the piece turned around with the tenon mounted up in the chuck. We're going to be turning at 1500 RPM, half-inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. I've been using the half-inch on the inside lately. I guess because it's less work for me, but this is a fairly large piece and I'm not making much headway, so I'm going to sharpen up my 5/8 inch bowl gouge and switch to that. Well, I'm already running out of manipulation room with the tailstock hitting my handle here. I'd like to go a little thinner, but I can't quite get there from here. Maybe one more pass, maybe. Maybe two. Yeah, it's about as thin as I want to go, but still I can't do anything with the tailstock here. Well, it's thin enough here, but then it gets too thick. I need to get an angle like this. So I'm gonna get rid of the tailstock. Yeah, that's way better. I'm going to shear scrape that, kind of work my way down while I still have center support. I'm going to check myself because I'm not trustworthy. Oh, we got a ways to go, about an inch. Yeah, the wall thickness is good. Didn't take much away from the bottom yet. Well, we're about 3/8. I want about 1/4, so we're about there. Yep. Now I'm going to use my negative rake scraper to finish this off. Okay, well, what are we going to do about the rim? I forgot about the rim. Now I haven't left much to play with there. Time for sanding. I have the lathe spinning in reverse at 350 RPM. I'm starting at 80 grit. I'll work up through 400 grit. I'll bring you back when it's time to take the tenon off. See you in a bit. Okay, I'll show it to you. Pretty nice, huh? What do you think? Ooh. Okay, same as last time. I'll let it set up for 20 minutes, spin it up, buff it. I'll bring you back when it's time to take the tenon off. See you in a bit. Time to remove the tenon. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck. I'm going to put a non-slip cloth over that and bring up the bowl and bring up my tailstock. I still have that center hole there for reference, so I can just drive my live center into that, and that'll help center the bowl on the block of wood. Apply a little pressure, bring up my tool rest. We'll spin the piece up, see if it's running true, and it is. I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch bowl gouge and commence to removing that tenon. Stop and check for clearance, and I have clearance, so we're good there. I want to get a little bit closer, get a little more support on my tiny tool. Now that's pretty small. I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge so that I can get in there closer, and I'm going to turn the speed down to about 400 RPM. Just keep working it away. Now that's really small. I'm going to turn the speed down to about 200 RPM, and I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl Right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch. Pressure towards the headstock, and when the little nub stops turning, we'll know we're through. Or breaks away, sometimes that happens. Now I'll just take this over here to the workbench, sand that up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Be sure you stick around at the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. If you'd share the video, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, here it is. One black walnut usable bowl in the books. I don't know what else to call it. I don't do this kind of thing very often. Most of my stuff is just art, not necessarily something usable, but this one is. And let me tell you, you want to feel this. It's so incredibly smooth everywhere, just everywhere. The hardest part about this for me, this was a lot of fun to turn, first of all. The hardest part was coming up with some sort of different type of design. I've got a little bit of a bevel on the bottom edge here, so when it sets flat, it actually sets up off of the table a little bit. I'm not sure if that's coming through there, but it's there. So that was one little detail. And then the general shape, I don't do that kind of thing very often. Thinner than most pieces that I turn out. It just feels good. It looks good. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you to watch. There's the bottom all finished up. I really like it. I don't get to turn walnut that often. I guess that might look kind of cool there. I don't know. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Thank you, Arland Sandborn, for bringing this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. I also appreciate you taking your time to spend with me today. It was an enjoyable experience for me, and I hope it was for you. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.